Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last video, we went ahead and did Leon's gloves and his knee pads. And in this one, we're going to build the sleeve of his shirt. So let's dive right in. We're going to go ahead and save this. This is going to be Leon 16. And I'll jump right in. I'll grab the body. And if you look at the sleeve here, it starts in the middle of the forearm, so right about here. So let's go to face selection. Make sure symmetry is on. And I'll start about here on the forearm. Hold shift, double click to get that band. Rinse and repeat, so select one, hold shift, double click. And I'll do that a couple times. I'll get about 4 bands up the arm here. However many you like to build out that sleeve. And all we're going to do is extrude off of the arm. So I'll hit extrude and then pull. Yay, look at that. Now of course you can build a whole shirt using the same method we did over here, but I think this is going to be fine. We're not going to really see under this. But I will make a little cut here so that we can get, at different angles. Whenever you see the arm, you might see that the sleeve kind of goes up under the arm. So get multi-cut. I'll throw in a cut right about here. Okay. Hit Q, I'll go into edge mode, I'll grab this edge, just double click it, W, and then move the edge back in. Looks good. And then go ahead and double click the outer edge there. And then bevel. Hold shift, hold right click, bevel. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to double click this outer edge again, and I'll just scale that. So middle scale, I'll just scale that up. Yeah, I think that's good. I'll do something similar on the back side. Let's go ahead and double click this back edge. And then I will bevel. So hold shift, hold right click, bevel. And I think that is good enough. Look at that, we got a sleeve. Right? And of course you can add some irregularity to the arm to make it look baggy and such. If you go into sculpting, we'll get our sculpting brush, get our tool settings. So I'm at 1.3 for my strength. Go ahead and close my tool settings. Hold V to adjust my brush. You can see it looks more sleeve-like. To add some irregularity in here, adjust your brush size and just drag along the model. Just make the little wrinkles in the shirt. However many you want. I think it's kind of good. I'll go do a quick smooth on some of these just to take out some of the jaggedness. Looks pretty good. Yeah, do some up here on the upper arm. Maybe get some bagginess here. Cool. We can do the same thing on the pants. So I can hit Q. I can turn off the holster. So I'll grab the holster and these bands. There we go. This I will go to poly modeling and then hit combine. I'll just name that holster. Then I can hide it. Knee pads. I'm going to keep the knee pads on because I don't want to ruin any of the shape for that. Let's go back to sculpting. And let's make sure I select my model here. Grab my sculpting brush. There we go. And just like I did with the arms, I can add some irregularity to the pants. So like he's got these creases in the pants here. So I can go up here, just add. And you can bag these out however you like. You can do a lot of bagginess, you can do a little bit of bagginess, it doesn't matter. You are the artist. Remember that you can hold shift to smooth out some of these corners. Let's see down here on the cuff. Now expand my brush size a little bit. So pull this stuff out. Give it a good flare. Again, I'm trying not to adjust the knead too much because I already have this built onto it. I might go back here on the cab a little bit and push a lot of that out. Yeah. Of course, you can add stuff to the shirt, but I think that's good. Down here on the boots, they're kind of big, fluffy potatoes. I want to adjust those as well. You go ahead and grab my pull brush, which is right here. Adjust my brush size. I'll just pull this corner in to round it off. Pull that corner in. And if we look at the top here, you can see that the shoes are pretty even all the way across. But if you look at a real shoe, look at yours, look at your foot, this part bends in. So we're going to go to the interior of the arch here. Get your pull brush, get a good size, and just start pulling some of this inward. Change your angle just so you can see what you're doing. Now on combat boots, this inner bit is very, very sharply defined. On work boots, not so much, so it really just depends on the boot type. But these look like they are desert camo combat boots. Yeah. Don't forget, you can smooth as you go, so hold shift so you can smooth. I'll try to smooth out that corner. If ever you see any lumps or anything, you can just try smoothing it. Okay, and now the top of the boot is actually something that's very well defined on a combat boot, so that the toe kind of comes up as a bubble, but then the arch kind of sinks in. You can kind of see that here, right? Bubble on the toe, the arch sinks in, and it's very clearly defined for the shape. So, adjust my brush. I'm going to start pulling in some of this. I'll try different angles just so I can get the shape of like the foot under here. Try to form this arch. And of course, don't forget to smooth as you go. Looking more boot-like. Still a little bit of a potato, but the more you work on it, the better it's going to look. Well, in theory. You could work on it and do it wrong, and then it might look a little messy, but in general, the more time you take to refine your shape, the better it's going to be. Okay, and I'll grab these and do like around the back of the ankle. Make the boots look like they're being lived in, you know. Those look a little bit better, a little bit more natural. Not going to go too heavy into this. I'll let you be the designer here. But I do want to create the sole on this, which we didn't do earlier. So we really should have, before we smoothed it, defined that sole. Since we didn't do it, it's going to be a bit chunky, but it's okay. We're going to go back into object mode here. And I'll grab my multi-cut tool here. Let's go ahead and put in a cut right about here. You can see where this little arch is. I want to go just above that. And I want to be real tight on that edge. Go ahead and cut that in, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'll get real close on here, and I'll add one more. Okay, hit Q, and then double click the edge. We're going to scale that edge inward. So hit scale, grab the middle scale, and pull in. Just check all the way around. I'll get my side scale and pull that in a little bit, just to define the edge of that. It's a bit of a cheat. It would have been better if we had defined that earlier, but you know, live and learn. I'm going to go into face selection, select the bottom of the shoe here. So if I go into my front view, it might be a bit easier. So I go up to the middle of the shoe here, and then I'll go through and just check that selection. If you're lucky, you should get everything just below the crease we just made. So I'm just doing a double check, make sure I got all of the faces underneath this crease. And then you can see I got some of the faces inside that crease. So I'm going to hold down Control, deselect the face, go to the next one, double click, and that'll go around and clear off that band. Okay. And then what I'll do with that is I will scale forward a little bit, just a tad. And then I will scale to the side a little bit, just a tad. And you can check your work. Yeah. Had we defined that earlier, it would have been a lot quicker. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and add back on the holster here. So where are you at, Mr. Holster? I'll just search for it. There it is. And I'll hit H to turn that back on. I'll go ahead and clear the search. There you go. And you can see, as we expanded the pants, we did undo some of the work for our holster. So I will have to go through and just kind of clean that up. So on this part, let's go get my sculpting tool. Get it on here. I'll adjust my brush size. Again, you can hold B to do that. And I'll just hold down Control as I paint, and that'll push this in. And I'll go around the band. Do that. You can see I'm going a little bit too strongly under there, so I'll go ahead and just pull that back out by not holding Control. And this is why we didn't hide the knee pads, just so we wouldn't run into this kind of issue. Again, Control to push in, and then Shift to smooth. If you don't hold Control, it pulls out. Okay, I'll get up here on this one. Again, holding Control to push in, Shift to smooth. And then lastly, I want to define the collar. So if you look, Leon has this sort of, collared type shirt. So we're going to go ahead and define that here. So I'll do here is I'll go get my multi-cut tool. And right about here on the neck, I will add a cut. So maybe about there. And this will be the defining shape for our collar. So go into face selection, and I'll grab these faces, hold shift, double click, then I'll grab the loop. I'm going to deselect the middle faces here, hit extrude, and then I will pull up. So hit W and then pull straight up. That'll make the collar. And then I want to do a couple things here. First, let's go ahead and cut in some extra divisions. So multi-cut, hold down Control, I'll put in about 3 cuts. 1, 2, and then 3. Just so we can have some flex with this. And then down here, collars aren't usually this square. Maybe if you're like a priest or something, you might have a square cut here. But we really need to have some defining piece here. So what I'm going to do is go into here. I'm going to grab these two. I'll hit extrude, and I will take keep faces together, and I will set that to off. And I will pull these out like that. Okay, and then I will just shrink them. Get my move tool and I'll move them. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating this crease here for the collar. But what I need to do is take this face and this inner face, those two. We're going to delete those. And then I'm going to merge this edge to there. So get my target weld tool. Let's go to edge selection. I'll grab this edge and then that edge and then sew those together. Now we can build in that collar shape there. And if you had like a button or something, you could put a button there. Okay. And then what I'll do for up here is I'll create another loop. So multi-cut, I'll put a loop right about here. I'll go into face selection, grab this face, and I want to get all the way around, but I don't want to get the whole band. So if I do this, I'll get the band on both sides. I only want this outer band. So I'll go ahead and select this one. Go over about halfway here. Hold shift, double click. That'll go and grab to that stopping point. And I'll do that again to about here. And then again to about here. And then I will extrude. I'm going to pull this out. I'll hit W and then pull those faces down. Now we have that collar. Okay, and I'll add a couple cuts here just for flexibility. So I'll add one. Let's go ahead and add one more. I think that's good enough. And of course we can shape that and do other stuff with it. Like this underside, we'll never see it. So if you wanted to remove it, you're welcome to. Same thing with the back side inside the collar. You might not see that, you can always remove it. But I think this works pretty good. And I'll go get my sculpting tool. And get my pull brush. Adjust my brush size. And then I can go in here and do some adjustments on it for style. Tweak it a little bit. Maybe tighten up the middle. Make adjustments as you need for what you think is good for your character. And I think that will do it. We'll go ahead and save our work. And in the next one, we'll start working on the UVs so we can get him cleaned up so we can paint and do some hair. So stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, there's Lame Duck Studios merch. Grab yourself a cool hat, sweater. You can always check out my Patreon, where you can get access to exclusive content just for my patrons, as well as videos ad-free ahead of time. Or pick up one of my books. The Life and Times of Dinah Marton is about a criminal psychologist who moonlights as a serial killer, and The Guardian's Path of Ascension is about 5 teens who realize they have the power of gods and have to save the universe. Both of those are available on Amazon. There are links down in the description. And The Guardians is going to be converted into a comic book. I'm working with my artist Patrick. We're pretty excited. We're shooting for an October release. You can see some of the work that's been done here. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.